When I think about 2016, my mind travels back in time to simpler days, where everything had more color to it and people weren't so pissed off all the time. Maybe that's just a biased perception of someone who wasn't an adult back then, but a big factor that made that year one of the most enjoyable in my life was football. Don't get me wrong, you could definitely find some remarkable moments in the game from the previous years, but there was something missing. I had been passionately watching football for 10 years, but that passion was fading away. Money was starting to talk louder, the winners were becoming predictable, and as much as I appreciated Ronaldo and Messi, in 10 years I had only seen two other players win the Ballon d'Or. Football was becoming boring, and I started looking elsewhere. NBA, UFC, wrestling, but nothing scratched the itch the way football did. So in the beginning of the 15-16 season, I gave the sport one last chance. I made an effort to follow as many leagues and as many players as I could, and 8 years later, I can guarantee you that I did not regret it, as 2016 still is to me the most fun to watch football year of all time. For starters, you had a terrific Premier League campaign. By now, everyone is aware of the legend of Jamie Vardy, the man who went from playing the bottom tiers of English football to being ranked 8th place in the Ballon d'Or. But that Premier League season, even without Leicester City's unexpected triumph, still had many other bizarre moments that should never be forgotten. I mean, it was just laughable how everyone, myself included, thought that Man City were unstoppable. Little did we know, they would never be able to be consistent throughout their campaign, and that their squad from back then would be completely obliterated by their 2023 counterparts. But at least Man City qualified to the Champions League and had a pretty decent European run, the best in their history up until that point. Chelsea, on the other hand, were the reigning, defending champions, coached by Mourinho when he was still seen by most as a top 3 manager in the world. Most rational fans, if they didn't think City were destined to win, then they probably assumed Chelsea were going for back-to-back league titles. After all, they had a solid core of capable men who had already triumphed many times in the past. But those men didn't like when Jose fired their favorite doctor. So much so that the club sank from champions to 15 in the league by October. Mourinho got fired and things eventually improved to a 10th place finish. Yeah, I know you boys are accustomed to Chelsea being a meme who spends billions only to end up in mid-table, but back then, the world was absolutely stunned with their awful run. Still, somehow, Chelsea weren't the only big club to perform miserably that season. Man United wasted 122 million euros in 4 flops, with all due respect to Schweinsteiger, only to further establish that this post-Fergie era was anything but promising. Tottenham played like they never did before, only to lose like always. For a while, Spurs were the biggest threat to Leicester's iconic Premier League triumph, but in the end, they were the ones who gave the title away, losing against none other than the struggling Chelsea. To make it worse, they couldn't even finish above their eternal rivals, when all they had to do was beating the already relegated Newcastle. Liverpool were also terrible, but at least something good came out of how god-awful they were. Klopp joined the Reds, and while his time in charge didn't start in the best way possible, the club's performance in the Europa League that season, especially the match against Dortmund, where Liverpool performed a miraculous comeback, solidified the Reds' hopes on him, and the rest is history. So as you can tell, the Premier League was wild in 15-16, and until the end of the calendar year, the hype would only increase. The league suffered a rebrand, and after such a massive upset winner, there were great expectations to what would happen next. The Big Six looked more balanced than ever. Guardiola, Mourinho, Conte and Klopp brought more prestige to the league, and at the same time, people were super curious about what would Leicester be able to achieve that season. Football in England felt bigger than ever, and as time passed, their dominance only grew stronger. But what about the rest of the world? Well, I'm not gonna lie, every other top 5 league had boring winners. Juve for the 5th time in a row, Bayern and PSG for the 4th consecutive year, and Barca for the 2nd. It felt like all the fun was left for English football, but you see, the summer of 2016 wasn't only about Pokemon Go. It also brought the biggest Euro Championship till date and the 100th year anniversary of Copa America. I vividly remember being hyped about watching nations like Albania, Iceland, Hungary and Wales compete. It was so weird how the minnows that never got past the qualifying stages now had their biggest chance ever to upset the world. You could argue that the match quality wasn't as great because nations were more interested in avoiding a loss than to play attacking football, but in that moment, some of us didn't care. We rooted for the underdogs. We were all fresh off an era dominated by Spanish football, so we just wanted new faces on top, and we certainly got that from 2016 onwards. Ireland beating Italy, Iceland eliminating England, Al Robson Kanu turning into prime Cruyff to eliminate Belgium's golden generation, and obviously Portugal without their star man beating the host France in a final decided by the striker who rarely scored. This was cinema. Across the Atlantic Ocean, you'd also find a dramatic competition but with way more goals. Copa America felt bigger than ever, the cup was golden, and the hype was unreal. Could Messi finally win his first international trophy? In the beginning, it really felt like it. La Albiceleste beat Chile, the team who had defeated them in the final in the previous year, while their biggest rivals Brazil were eliminated in the group stage thanks to a handball goal. Either way, despite their loss against Argentina, Chile progressed to the knockouts, where they showed the world that they were arguably even stronger than in the previous year. With a golden generation composed by the likes of Sanchez, Vidal and Bravo, the Chileans trashed Mexico 7-0, beat Colombia's golden generation and then broke over 46 million Argentine hearts after conquering their second Copa America title through a penalty kick shootout. From a neutral point of view, it was like catching lightning in a bottle twice, but from Messi's eyes, it was yet another heartbreak. A devastating moment that even made him temporarily retire from his national team. As the years have passed, I've enjoyed some fantastic moments as a football fan. Hell, we're all living through Leverkusen's iconic run that could ultimately culminate in one of the biggest upsets in football history. Still, I don't think football has the same weight anymore. It could just be a personal thing, but I don't think we're ever truly in the moment. Xabi Alonso is achieving something phenomenal in Germany, and the first thing that comes to most people's minds is where he'll be next year. Klopp could still win a quadruple with Liverpool, and fans are already fearing what's next. Maybe that has to do with the abundance of content that we have. I mean, here we are, you and I, reminiscing about the past. Either way, the one thing that I want you to take out from this video is that no matter if 2016 was your favorite year as a football fan or any other year, stay present, live in the moment. Embracing the thrill of the unexpected was what made 2016 the best year for me, and there's absolutely nothing stopping you from having the 2023-24 season be one of your favorite football campaigns of all time. And that is it for the video. Share your favorite year as a football fan in the comments. I can't wait to read your stories. Drop a like to help this video get pushed to more people, and subscribe to Throne FC to never miss the most interesting football discussions, crazy stories and top 10 lists. Thank you for watching till the end, I appreciate you, and I will see you soon.